The principal benefit to the council is that it's a very clear way of communicating to developers, to local residents, to our elected members, that we're taking design seriously and that we recognise that we need to raise standards of design across the Highland area, but in particular in the city of Inverness, which is growing very, very fast. The panel is a very useful sounding board for developers and their agents who don't know the city very well, and we are seeing a huge range of new development and new practitioners come into Inverness, particularly because there's such a boom in developing tourist accommodation now. So we have designers coming from all over the UK. It's one thing to hear from a planning official that there's sensitivity around a particular site. A developer might say that, well, you know, that they would say that that's what planners are programmed to say. But when an independent panel of local people who have design expertise or interest in the built environment, but also know the culture of the city very well, when they come out with the same advice, then developers very often pick up on that. We learned a whole lot from discussing the design review process with City of Edinburgh Council officers, and from their very kind invitation to a group of us to go down and observe one of their design review meetings. You pick up a huge amount about the whole, about procedure and about the culture of a good meeting if you're allowed to just be a bystander. So I would recommend piggybacking on one of the more mature panels. The panel's work is presented to one of our two committees, the South Area Planning Committee. And now if councillors have concerns about development in the boundary of Inverness City, they will often say, has the design review panel commented on this project? In fact, we had one case last year where a sensitive piece of development in the city centre came forward at very short notice, and there wasn't time for the case to come forward for design review. The members didn't like the design. They asked if it had come for design review, and it was explained to them that the time pressure was too great, and they said, okay, we're not going to grant this planning permission, contrary to what the officers had recommended, because they felt it was too important, it needed to come for design review. So that has definitely introduced a level of importance to design that wasn't there in the days before the panel was established. For development management officials, I think it's given them a vocabulary and more confidence about challenging what the developers are hoping to achieve. So if there are particularly sensitivities around massing, around height, and that's something that development management has really serious challenges over, how many stories to build in the middle of a conservation area. The panel has helped, it's emboldened the planning officials really to be a bit more ambitious about the pressure they put on developers. I certainly recommend being self-critical and finding some way of evaluating how the council is doing. We look at the schemes that have been reviewed, both in terms of what came forward at design review stage and then what came forward for planning permission, so that the members of the panel can see, whether they had an influence. And I think panel members are definitely tightening up their advice as a result of seeing that the changes that took place between pre-application design review and planning application hasn't necessarily been as robust as panel members would like to see. So definitely an annual review has been very useful.